Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and these are things that I learned with Mushi's Luna in the International 6. Luna starting items are very common. Usually, Luna starts with at least 2 sets of regen items, since even though she doesn't have low armor, she is very squishy. The Ring of Protection enables her to finish the Basilius in the side shop, which helps her a lot with mana problems in case the enemy team starts getting too aggressive. Also, Aquila is just an amazing item on edgy heroes, and picking it later on is definitely a plus of this build. Since Radiant blocked the lane creeps too much, they had to make a side pull or else the lane would push.
Because there comes a point where...
Needs something for anti-push.
Well, Ember is definitely one of the best anti-push heroes. Not to mention, you're going to have Shadow Demon plus Luna Illusions. That's why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this early game. Because whoever gets ahead is going to have a lane equilibrium advantage. They're going to start pushing out. They're going to take objectives. And
with 2 ranged heroes.
And talking about Ohio up on this top lane against, obviously just the dual lane of Liquid, the fact that Liquid are once again running this 2-1-2 formation that they seem to be doing with the majority of the time now in TI. Do you imagine Ohio is going to get a decent amount of farm up top? Or...
That side pull is very useful. But in the end, even though the lane doesn't push, Luna takes quite a lot of damage tanking the creep wave. And that's why you get at least 2 sets of regen items on her. She doesn't have bad armor, but her HP is not good. When you want to maintain your lane static and you know the enemy is pushing too hard, the best way to equalize it is attacking as much as possible to avoid the enemy creep wave to grow too much. But at lower levels, it is easy to miss less hits doing that. Mushi goes for the ranged creep that not only is not getting attacked, so he can't miss it, but also pushes way harder than the melee creeps.
Caustic at level 1, so if you don't have something to actually be able to farm the jungle with, then obviously you can't go there just yet. And not even having stun means you can't roam either. So he needs to find something, and that's probably just going to be...
In this other clip, do you see that he is actively attacking a bit to try to equalize both waves? This is the correct approach when you want your lane static, but the enemy's creep wave has advantage in numbers.
That's holding him back in this, is like he started with Caustic.
Absolutely, just 8 experience on this.
It is not uncommon for Lunas to get Helm of the Dominator even before the power threads. The lifesteal is decent, even at lower levels, considering she has a lot of damage and the armor is also very useful, but the enemies Luna will be fighting in the early game have basically just magic damage. Kunkka, Rubik, Sand King, and even DP Nuke and Spirit Siphon are all magic damage. The extra HP and the ability to thread switch is also ridiculously useful in the early game, especially considering she didn't have to get a magic stick in the beginning of the game. Her 4th skill point synergizes with her team plan. It's not uncommon for Lunas to save the 4th skill point during the laning phase and then get it when they want to rotate to the jungle. But since Luna didn't get HOTD, and apparently they want to take the tower faster and probably more towers to reduce Naga's lane presence, the extra points in aura for the entire team are more useful in the beginning than the glaives. Also, notice that the Basilius is turned on when they want to push. I like to think of Luna as a Sven that comes online earlier, but it's not as good in teamfights and giving his team defensive capabilities. But it's an overall better mid-game pusher, especially when you don't have time to farm. Luna can indeed farm very well, but in this game farming was not the best option, since it would automatically give Naga more room to work with until she got her Radiance. That's why she doesn't need the Helm of the Dominator. Also, if they take all the outer towers and dominate the map, then she can farm for as long as she wants until Fnatic has such a huge lead that it's impossible for Liquid to defend. They get the smoke to hunt the Naga, succeed, and because of Luna, they can smoothly transition for a top lane push.
The team is certainly on its way, but at the same time... Oh, the numbers in the ult! Coming out from Mushi, burst down 1. They'll jump forward, look for Jarix, and they'll get it as well. And Fnatic diving tier 1s at this stage of the game, taking down that high value kill.
And Mushi even gets the mid deny thanks to his huge early damage. Thread switching should never be underestimated. The kill on Death Prophet would never been possible if during the whole game Mushi were not thread switching.
Past tier 1s, and the team is certainly on its way, but at the same time... Oh, the numbers in the ult! Coming out from Mushi, burst down 1. They'll jump forward, look for Jarix, and they'll get it as well. And Fnatic...
Thread switching allows him to keep farming the jungle without having to go back to base reaching his mana all the time. And only after the gank top, defending mid and the skirmish in their jungle, he finally goes back to the base.
They're looking to move in. Mind control's got to be careful. In fact, he's going to go down to the poison of DJ. Liquid losing 1. Fnatic still hanging around as the Amplify onto Fnatic.Mushi, trying to close the gap. Holds back Fnatic though. Fnatic turning around with the side, but he's going to get a high. He'll still go down. But at least he managed to bring something with him there. But overall still.
One very interesting choice he goes for to make up for his lack of lifesteal and avoid going to base after teamfights that could lead up to towers is carrying salves with him. Luna already has very low HP, and with the ability to thread switch and drop his Dragonlance for instance, he can always heal a very huge percentage of his HP. It might seem as if Fnatic is going for a one-sided strategy that will either work out amazingly well or fail. But after taking the outer towers, Radiant's team will farm way faster than the Dire, and they have the Luna plus SD combo and the guarantee of late game with Ember Spirit. Luna plus SD combo is also very strong. It will slowly but surely take the buildings with almost no risk. The BKB is the best way to ensure they can win the early fights until all the tier 2 towers are down and before Naga has Radiance. There's no 4k gold item that can give Mushi that. In this clip, they were trying to secure the tier 1 tower, and Mushi ends up dying. But it takes so much for the Dire to kill him that the trade is still good for them. To me, the main reason that Mushi died is that he went in with int treads, waiting for the best opportunity to pop his ult and save mana. Unfortunately, he didn't expect so much lockdown coming from the Dire team, and when he's able to go back to strength threads, he already lost so much HP that he just dies. I'm pretty sure he would survive with just a little bit of HP after all that had he started the fight with strength threads. Anyway, they take the tier 1 tower and they are in a good pace to take control of the game before Naga gets too big. But that's a good example of a time where thread switching can be a little bit too greedy. Check this clip. This is a very tricky situation. Both teams are fighting at the bottom tower, and Radiant's creep wave is reaching Liquid's tier 2 tower, with Mushi being there and the only defending hero a very weak Naga Siren. Mushi could have definitely pushed the tower by himself with little to no reaction possible from the Naga. Still, he goes back to help his team, and in this game I think that's the right reaction. If Dire wins that fight, they have the means to take a tower, and when you're ahead and fighting for early map control, giving towers is never a good trade. Especially if there's the chance of the enemy team winning a fight at a deficit. In the end, Fnatic took 3 heroes down, they then lost a tower, and now they can still push, and this time Dire doesn't have Exorcism. In the end, even though Fnatic made a good job and took a reasonable chunk of the map control, Naga gets an 18-minute Radiance, which is fairly bad but not an auto win for Radiant considering every tier 2 tower is still up. Had Luna survived that engagement in the mid tier 1 tower, he would probably have gotten a faster BKB and more map control as well, delaying the Radiance even more. The BKB reaches Mushi right after the teamfight starts, and even though Naga has Radiance, the BKB proves to be too effective. But check how Mushi plays this. After they notice they are getting smoked, he does not go full aggressive because he is waiting his BKB, even though he had a very good angle for an Eclipse. When you're playing against a Naga Siren wanting to take map control away, you definitely want to survive every teamfight even though you are playing an aggressive non-farming style Luna. Also, check Mushi's net worth. He has more than the Naga even before she died. Even though he didn't start with lifesteal, didn't farm any stacks and just focused on taking away farm from the Naga, and of course pushing towers. In my opinion, besides the draft, one of the things that Mushi did differently that impacted the game a lot in Fnatic's favor was not going for the Helm of the Dominator and going for this fight heavy build. He did spend like 300 or 400 gold in salves, but in the end, those extra 1500 gold that he would spend on the Helm of the Dominator before the BKB definitely helped them win fights with that BKB earlier. Even when you think that BKB was not detrimental for winning the fight, just knowing that you have the option of popping BKB and avoiding all the damage and disables makes the fight way easier. Also, having the early BKB makes you want to keep pushing the advantage instead of farming that one extra camp. Okay guys, this is it for today. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more of this game breakdown, please check my PVGNA affiliate link in the description. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to it. I'm making videos like this every day and I'm sure something here will spark your interest. And if you really like my channel, please check my Patreon rewards and see if any of them are of your liking. Bye. What apparently was a very easy lane for him turns out to be a dual off lane with Slardar and Elder Titan. Instead of banging his head against the wall and trading too much, he immediately backs off and respects their strengths, especially because he didn't have a self to instantly heal after he traded. Eventually, the